Kwa sasa, turning to a first topic where we are talking about youth leadership. Sawa, you know, leadership among the youth. And to the first question, nataka tukujua, what is your take on youth leadership?
Youth haiwezi read kwa sababu unaona vituko vile wako nazo. Sasa unaonekana mtu akipata pesa, you heard the last week vile tumepata mtu wako na pesa, sitamtaja. Unaona vile sasa anasahau vile anaweza endelesha hata hiyo town iwe kubwa, ndio ainue hata wale wadogo.
Mimi na support youth wapewe nafasi because sasa sisi tumezeeka. Yeah, kuna vile how youth wanataka, but for us tukichukua sana hatutajua what they want.
Kama vile wahenga walisema, penye wazee haparibiki neno. Na basi wazee ndio wenye ujuzi na wamepitia mashida mingi, wamepitia kona hii na diposa uongozi upasi kwa vijana.
Sisi wazee we are here to stay. Na kuna jambo itaharibika.
Okay, lakini ukiangalia kweli are the youth ready to take leadership? Kwa sababu just angalia hii event tulikuwa na recent ya Mike Sonko, ameenda akapiga mabati, amejangusha chini, all this kind of shenanigans ambazo zinaendelea na other youth leaders. Do you think they are really ready to take on leadership?
What he did was wrong, and we cannot support that as much as we are youth. But there are youths who are a bit mature, like people who are above 40 and above. Such people, I don't believe they can do what he did. But people below that, though they are still youth, and people above 40 are still youth also.
Are they?
Because, yeah, they are.
Are
because
they?
you cannot. Okay.
Because they are young at heart.
They are
35 and below.
Yeah.
No, even below 50, they are still youths.
Yeah. As long
because
as they are young at heart and
opinion,
they have energy.
Yeah.
Youth is, let me say, 40 and below. But what I think is that youth that are given a chance to lead should be people who are honorable, people who are respectable, people who behave themselves. And we should not look at, when you're electing youth, we should not just elect them because they have money.
Si vibaya ati wazee wasiwe ama youth wawe peke yao, lakini wanaweza kuwa pamoja, lakini youth at least wazee wakiwa 100, at least youth wakiwe 110 hivi. Juu hao wana youth ndio kiongozi wa kesho.
Sawa, let's do this for now. Watch a small clip tumeprepare iko na maelezo zaidi, then tutarudi kwa imada.
Young people in leadership have been tried and tested before. And there was a time when Kenya was doing great economically. But now we find that we are still stuck in 1963 with the same kind of leadership. For example, now the world is moving technologically, but our leaders are not technologically savvy. We are going to be moving, you know, in tandem with other countries. For example, the US now have elected a young person. And for me, young here does not mean young in terms of that I am between 18 to 35, so I am young. First of all, it would be impossible to change the entire country across the board through an election. Not impossible, but it would be pretty difficult to do that. It means then there will be more like a blend of the old and the young. But that, for me, will provide us an opportunity for mentorship. In Meru, for example, they have the Njuricheke. The Njuricheke does not vie for leadership positions, but they support the leaders who are in that community to be able to offer leadership.
The youth wanna constitute the highest number of the population in Kenya, 75%. Lakini hebu angalia representation yao in parliament, angalia the people who are in power. It's old people. So isn't it about time youth will take over leadership?
I think we need to change the leadership. We need to get the youths. There are those youths who are honorable. It's not some corner who is a youth. We have so many. We are also honorable, but the only problem is that we have no money. We can lead, but we have no money too.
I think years does not matter so much, but what matters it's maturity. Yeah. It's what is here. That is what matters.
All that is fine, lakini tujiulize swali. What does youth leadership signify?
Youth are very ambitious, and they will see opportunities that they can use those opportunities to develop this country. But the old people, maybe they have just based the development of this country on one thing, and that is why we find ourselves failing so much. The old people, let's take on something like agriculture. They depended on rain. These days there are no rains, but there are better ways that you can get a lot of production from this same nation if we used irrigation.
Ukienda kwa ofisi hata ya serikali utakuta wazee wamekalia tu, kuna kijana amekaa hapo kando anatumia kompyuta. Mzee amekaa tu hapa anaandika na kalamu. Atashida hapo. Sasa tukiona hiyo teknolojia ya vijana wakiikia hata viongozini watabadilisha kila kitu. Tutakuwa tunatumia the new technology ile iko.
Okay. Tukiangalia hata kutoka wakati wa kitambo kidogo ya, an old leader must stand and endorse a young leader so that akuwe accepted by us the wananchi. Why is this the case?
Sababu atataka huyo youth awe anamtumia. Me, that is what I think. Sababu atakuwa amempatia mawaidha, labda hata atakuwa amemshikilia juu ya pesa kumweka in that position. Kwa hivyo hata huyo youth akikuwa anafanya hiyo kazi, atakuwa anapata, atakuwa anapewa information by huyo mzee.
Okay, na ukiangalia the current crop of young leaders that we have, do you really think that they're the right kind of people who could take over leadership in Kenya, or do they need more mentorship? Do they need more time to mature?
Okay. A mentor is somebody who push you up to another level. And I think the big problem we have in Kenya, I can call it tribalism. Because now a tribe want to acquire power, want to be in leadership. So they look for somebody who is from the clan or the family that has root. They bring up him and they encourage and they say it is him. Now somebody else from the same tribe, if he tries to come up, he cannot be able to overcome the other because this one has been brought by the old generation.
Kiangalia hata wale old leaders wako ambao wako supposed to mentor the young leaders. Do you think kweli tuko na watu ambao they can create a good example and mentor young leaders vizuri into power?
Yeah, tuko na watu ambao wanaweza kumentor watu vijana wawe kwa power. Tuseme kama wale wako na experience, wasa kwa hapo wanajua na wanajua huyu anataka kuweka hapa, ako na hiyo hekima ya kuongoza, sio mbaya.
Last year in June 2010, yeah, kuna center inaitwa Africa Leadership Center ilikuwa launched. Na this center, it will be taking young leaders or potential young leaders, yeah, ambao wako na ability, confidence na hiyo skill. Then they are going to just mentor them into creating African solutions for African problems. Do you think this is a good idea apart from only people who've been in power?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because when they are mentored in that center, you will acquire something maybe that was not in you, and therefore you can use that in your leadership if you are to become a leader. So I think it's a good idea.
Sasa hiyo kitu ikifunguliwa kwa watu wote, kila mtu ataenda, hata mimi naweza enda huko.
Utaenda, unapanga kuenda.
Naweza enda huko, kila mtu, sio lazima uwe sasa na pesa. Sasa wale wako sasa ni wale wako na pesa, ndio naweza enda. Lakini itakuwa pengine open to everybody. Ule naweza enda, lakini ukienda huko sasa utaelezea. Unajua huna nafasi wakati uwe na nafasi, lazima uwe kama uliokosa pahali ndio upelekwe. Unajua huwezi kutokea kwa vijiji uende useme unataka president. Lazima uwe kwa MP, uendelee na uwe umeshikiliwa na mtu ndio uwe president wa Kenya.
Let me come to you. As a young person, do you feel well represented?
I'm not well represented because there are things that we feel like we want to speak them out. There are things that affect the young people, but there is nobody to air those things out in the parliament. And we have youths in the parliament, but it is like they have just been told you keep quiet because there is nothing you can speak that can bring change.
Tumeshusha mtu na tumebeba mwingine na tunaendelea na mada yetu hapa kwa Matatu. So tuendelee.
The youth, because they don't have much, they have little. They are start on leadership and they are start on issues is influenced by those who are powerful, who have money. So if I am chosen today, one thing I'll be very independent and I will not be influenced by the powerful and the people who are rich.
Like Besinji, very good leader. Yeah. Anatembea anaenda kazi hata kitandikwaje, anarudi anatembea. Very independent.
What do you think can be done to encourage responsible leadership amongst the youth?
I would encourage many leaders who feel that they can lead to join that group and be mentored.
We as parents, we should be responsible and we should teach our children to be responsible so that when they reach their time for them to be trained to be leaders, they'll be responsible also.
Majority of the youth have no information. They cannot buy a newspaper, they have no access to TV, they have no access to radio, they cannot get information, so they are so down. But now if they are brought up, I think they can get information, like what we are discussing now. When it is caught up, when somebody is hear it, I think you have an idea of what we were talking about.
We refuse to be influenced with money. If you see somebody who has a potential to lead the nation, and he or she don't have money, maybe to come out politically, in fact we need to vote him or her in regardless of the financial status.
Okay, tumemaliza topic yetu ya youth leadership, and obviously there are some good youth leaders out there, but more still needs to be done. But hii institution, at least this center inaitwa Africa Leadership Center, that's a good initiative. Sasa lakini pia sisi kama wananchi, let's encourage our youth.
It's true. You have very good points. In fact, you can join my campaign. Hata nimekuachia president, mimi nitakuwa vice president.
No, hata ufai kuelectiwa. Hayo ndo maoni ya watu kwa Matatu. Lakini kwa sasa, let's go to the streets tupate kusikia watu wana nini ya kusema.
Yeah, kwa streets tunaweza kasirika tushukisha hawa alafu nyimpande. So kaini kwa streets.
Matatu. Vijana wa siku hizi, ile kitu kitazuia wapewe viongozi. Akili zao hazijakuwa machua.
Ya wazee sasa wanafaa waondokee vijana.
Ndio sasa wazee sasa hivi wameshakuwa wengi kwa bunge. Sasa tunataka vijana rumba.
Vijana ndio wafaa kuwa viongozi. Sababu ukiangalia wazee hao kazi yao wasaile wamekuwa watu wakubwa. Sasa wamesahau ile hali walikuwa kipitia ndani. Na vijana unaona sasa kwa kifikiria wale vijana wenzao.
Vile mimi naona ni maneno mawili. Hatutalazimisha uongozi upande wa vijana au upande wa wazee. Ili kile tunataka ni mtu ajue tutakula vipi.
Kwa maoni yangu naona wazee wameongoza sana, kwa hivyo ni vizuri pia waachie vijana.
That's the voice of the streets. Or if you want, you can say the voice. If you want,
what a street,
moving on
street
swiftly,
that can speak.
If you want, you can say voice of people in the streets. Okay, for now we're taking a short break. We'll be right back.